has been rated GE by the Kenya Film Classification Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello everyone, welcome to GBS TV. On Chungu Jamii, we talk basically family, and today I am so excited because God has given us a new day, and in every new day, everything is actually new. We can only receive what God has given us, whether it is good or bad. And because of that, I am so happy that even today, I am being joined by a lady who is a wife, and she has many other things that she does. And I would like to introduce her to tell her more about herself. My name is Betty Akuku. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sophia Mwaneki. I am a wife of many years, 30 plus.
Mm-hmm.
I am a mother.
Yeah.
I am a teacher by profession. I'm also a counselor by training.
Mm-hmm.
And presently, I'm working for the Anglican Church of Kenya and the Department of Mission and Evangelism at the desk of the women, which we call Mothers Union. And my title in that office is the Provincial Mothers Union Coordinator or the National Coordinator for Women in the Church of Kenya. That is who I am.
Wow.
And
Great
I'm
job. Okay. Good to see you and to have you on the show, Sophia. You are most welcome to be with us today to take us through a topic that we are yet to discuss just now. So, viewer, today we are going to be talking about the perfect wife. When you hear about this, I know something triggers in your mind and you're like, perfect wife? Is there any perfect wife? But who is it that made a wife? Who is it that created humans? I mean, God who made humans and made wives is a perfect God. So yes, I think there is a perfect wife. But before you agree with me, let's hear from our guest today. Sophia.
Thank you, Betty, even for the invitation and allowing me to come and share on this very important topic today, a perfect wife. Just like you alluded, is that a perfect human being was created by a perfect God.
Yes.
And therefore, when God created man, he found that man was lonely in the company of all the wildlife God had created, all the animals, all the trees, all the forests. He found that man was lonely. And so he made man to sleep. And in Genesis, he picked one rib from his body and created a woman out of it. And then he presented her to Adam and he told Adam, this is your helper. So already God had given assignment and duties to the man, but he felt he cannot manage without a woman. And that woman is the wife. So that is why we will discuss a wife's responsibility and duties in the eye of what God expected of her. Though we cannot forget that we are living in a society.
Yes.
But that is what God decided would be the responsibility or the duties of a wife. Because where there is a woman and a man, the responsibility of a woman comes in.
Sophia, you know, when people go to the stadiums to watch soccer or to watch rugby, whatever kind of sport that they like, people say, wow, that was perfect. You know, they say that was excellent. So there is a perfect game. There is an excellent game. And you go also to the shoe company and you fit the shoe that fits you. You say that is perfect. You know, they try many times and there's this that really is a bit tight. There's that is a bit loose. But the one that fits you well, you're comfortable to walk in it. That is your perfect size shoe. So people argue and they do not agree that there is a perfect wife. And what they say is, if there was a perfect wife, no man would divorce his wife, and no man would marry a second wife. What is your opinion on this? Is there a perfect wife?
I want to say that there's a perfect wife, Betty, Because apart from only the Adam time that God just presented Eve to her, later on, God allowed us, human beings, to have a choice. And therefore, just the way I go and fit my dress and feel it fits me well, that's what I want to buy. I don't buy everything from the boutique. A man goes and finds a wife. And that is the wife he thinks fits her well. The systems of life and the way they treat each other and their backgrounds may bring in the imperfection. But God's desire is that this wife that this man has chosen, if the foundation of that choice was godly, if the foundation was right, then she is supposed to be the perfect wife. That is not needless to say. She may not fall short of what the man expects one time or another, but she's supposed to be the perfect woman that the man has chosen for himself.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But what maybe for many people to understand, let's talk about what is in the perfect wife. Is she born perfect? Is she made perfect? Is it a process to make her perfect? Who is a perfect wife? Is she one that has a certain color, a certain figure, a certain kind of hair, a certain kind of dressing or makeup? Who is this perfect wife, lest we be misquoted at this early juncture?
Thank you so much, Betty. It's not really the physical, the physique that we see, but in choosing a wife, the man now knows what he wants in his head. But when this person comes in, when a child is born, psychologists tell us that a child is born with literally nothing in the head, tabula rasa. But afterwards, whatever we do, we put things into the hands of this child. That is the same way. When a man and a wife come together, from the very early beginning, what they feed their marriage with is the one that will determine whether this is going to remain a perfect wife, the way this man saw when he proposed it to her and when they agreed to tie a knot. So whatever they feed their marriage on is what will determine whether this is going to remain a perfect wife.
So a perfect wife is made.
It is made
by
both of them, the wife and the husband. And I can also include the society, the community where she is living in. Because if, for example, this wife is living with the extended member of the family, they are also going to be part of building this perfect wife or imperfect wife. Whatever they bring in, whatever they add into her will determine whether she remains the perfect person that the husband chose, or she is going to start being imperfect.
So that means
it is a work in progress.
So that means that this position is so dynamic. It could change anytime, depending on circumstances. Is that what it is?
That is what is Sophia's perspective. Because what makes people get married, loving each other, adoring each other, and then after maybe 10 or even 15, even 20, 25, 30 years, they are divorcing. Something must have happened on the journey, because it is a journey. So in the process of growing together, in the process of living together as a couple, what we have been feeding our marriage with will determine whether this perfection remains. Otherwise, it can be imperfect, slowly by slowly.
Okay. So how does a perfect wife look like?
A perfect wife from the Bible, Genesis tells us that God created Eve and told Adam that this is a helper. That means she's supposed to help the husband perfect his life. She's supposed to help this husband live the life that God desired. Because if God didn't need her to be a helper, then he couldn't have even brought her to Adam. And therefore, the perfect wife that God desires is the one that, one, fears the Lord as a relationship with God. Because every time you feel like you want to get tired in this journey, you have somewhere that you can bounce back to the Lord and ask the Lord, what is the way forward? And God will continue to guide you. There are stipulations that have been read there in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs. The King Solomon wrote the book of Proverbs, chapter number 30. It has so many things that talks about a perfect wife, a hard worker, the one who rises up very early in the morning, the one who mends clothes for her family, the ones who goes out and finds a farm and buys. This is not common in Kenya, and men in Kenya feel threatened by this. The one who goes out and finds a farm and buys, and then now farms on it or even builds on it to make her husband and the children comfortable. She's the one who feeds our family. And out of the way she is respected herself, her husband outside there is respected. If she's not respected and she doesn't honor herself, then outside there, the husband will not also be respected. And our children grow up, because the Bible says in the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6, that we should train our children in the ways of the Lord. And when they grow, they will not depart from it. I'm not saying that all the children born by believers will get born again, but that is God's desire. But you will bring them in the ways of the Lord. Even if they can slip away from this faith, they will be having in their mind, this is what my mother said. It is not right. And they will still come back to the fold where God wants them to be. So she has the responsibility of even training her children in the ways of the Lord. The mother is the best person to even bring up her children into salvation. Then as early as 6 years, as early as they can understand what is right and wrong. This mother does not live alone. In the book of Proverbs, the 30, people can read that. She is concerned about the needy and the poor. So she is a community member. She's a
community member. Sophia, there's one thing that we cannot be ignorant about.
Yes.
That marriage is not only for Christians,
Yes.
And so you do not have to find a wife the Bible way if you are not, because God gave marriage to all people and all races and all religions. So also a wife is not necessarily a mother. You are first a wife before you get to a mother. And even without being a mother, you are still a wife. So there are young men today who are looking for wives. It is their time. And all they say, a lot of them say, nowadays there are no wives. There are only women to flirt around with, and they are not serious, they are not ready to settle, and we cannot find wives. They are actually looking for a particular thing in the wives. They're looking for some kind of perfection. What would you guide them to look for in search of a perfect wife?
Okay, I would guide these young men by starting to tell them that they are not also perfect in life. One day or another, they are fallen short of expectations of their mothers and their fathers. And they have also fallen short of the expectations of even their neighbors or even the colleagues that they are working with. I'm saying they have delayed, maybe even submitting assignments. That's already falling short. And therefore, thinking that you're going to get a perfect person, that is a long notion. I have started by saying that we build each other. Marriage is about building each other. The man to build the woman that you'd want to have, and the wife to build this husband that she would always want to have. And this one comes by the virtue that you're going to be living together, understanding each other, and trying. The other day, Betty, you were discussing about wrongs that don't go away completely in the family. Getting to get used to those issues that don't go away, and living with them, like not offending me on a daily basis, but I have known that my husband doesn't put the socks where they're supposed to be. So this will not offend me. I'll just pick and go away and go on with my life. So getting into that, then it will make them, both of them, happy in this marriage. But thinking that you're going out there to meet the very perfect wife, the very, if you pick your right woman, let me say that, if you pick your right woman, then you can make her a perfect woman.
Okay.
They shouldn't fear getting into marriage. What we have realized is that young people don't want to get into marriage. Of course, they know, they have seen their parents, and they know is a responsibility. And therefore, some of them want things easily done, and therefore they are fearing getting into this marriage. What will I do? And maybe they have seen some pains or heartaches that their mother or their daddy has gone through as they were bringing them up. And they don't want that. So they fear proposing to the girls and marrying them or starting a family. That's why we have so many old young men. They are rich, they are wealthy, they don't want to marry, they just want to be on themselves because they don't want responsibility. But that is not God's design for man. Because when God told man, go and till the land and cultivate it, subdue the earth that I've given you. So he has a responsibility of working hard in sustaining his family, as the responsibility of taking care of what God has given us. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, Sophia, how does a perfect wife keep her home? Because sometimes the challenges in the home are really overwhelming. There is lots of expectations on you as a wife. It has been mentioned somewhere that a wife is the one who builds or destroys her own home, you know. And of course, nobody goes into a home to destroy it. I do not know who walks into a home with such kinds of intentions just to destroy it. Everybody goes into a home with beautiful expectations, joyous and happiness expectations. But what happens that now we are told that it is a woman who breaks or builds her own home? How does a perfect one keep her own home?
Thank you, Betty. It is biblical. It's the Bible that says she can build her own home with her own hands, or the same hands destroy the home. So the writers of the Bible, even before we were born and our fathers were born, knew this can happen. And therefore, this perfect wife has to ensure that she will seal all the entries that she may think of that can break or that can destroy our home. One, she must make sure that she is faithful to our calling. When she came into marriage, what was the agreement with the husband? Sometimes what destroys the marriage is that we come to the marriage with very high expectations, and then when they are not met, you feel like this is not the one I was choosing. It's good to have the expectations for both of them right before they even come into marriage, so that doesn't become one of the holes, the loopholes that can be used by the enemy to destroy their marriage. And then number two, they must know where is the foundation of this marriage. Whether they are Christians or they are Muslims or whatever religion, they must have every book, including the Quran. I've read Quran. There is a space that what talks about a wife or a woman. The foundation is very good. And for Christians, the foundation must be right if this marriage will work. If it's not right at one time in the process of the journey, they will realize something is not working well. And therefore, she has a responsibility of ensuring that she has done what is expected of her. Yeah, I was sharing somewhere and I was saying that even when, for example, you have a house help in the house and the food gets burnt or the food has excess salt, you are not the one who was in the kitchen, was the house help, but the husband will say, this food has too much salt. He doesn't tell the house help. Why? Because he knows, even if I have to be assisted by people that I live with, it is my core responsibility to ensure that food is there and nice food. Yeah, in my culture where I come from, When you used to get married at when I was very young, I was told that a man's way to get to a man's heart is through the stomach. So the stomach has to be fed well, not just with the machakura. Allow me to use that word, any food, but with the very organized and prepared food that he will miss. Even when he eats in a hotel, he says, no, this is still not enough. I need to eat in my own house. Small things like that will make this person to remain into this marriage. And ensuring that you are studying by your husband as long as he is not leading you to sin. What I say myself, this is Sophia's principle, as long as my husband wants me to do something that is not evil, I will do. But if it is evil, I cannot follow him to hell. Because we must stand before our Maker individually and say what we have brought before our God. But if it is not a sin, we need to work together. We need to ensure that we are supporting each other in whatever we are doing so that this marriage can grow. For marriage to grow, it is like firewood. When you light fire, the local fire, leave alone gas and electricity. The local fire or firewood. If you just light the fire and go away, you will not find it. You must keep on adding firewood and blowing air into it so that it continues to burn. The same with marriage. We must keep on feeding into our marriage with the positive things, with the good things that will encourage us to move on. Otherwise, it can be tedious and people can feel fed up with the life of marriage. Yes.
Sophia, you talked about the Proverbs 31 woman.
Yes.
I find this woman really out of this world. I find this woman such a superwoman. I don't know who matches her or even gets to her level. And I keep thinking, especially the parts where she buys the piece of land and settles her family and she feeds her family. I find her really overwhelmed. I'm not sure whether she's enjoying this kind of work, whether she's training or whether it is so burdensome to her. But she's such a superwoman. Does it mean that she has to do all this to be perfect? Does she have to be that educated woman who can afford even to buy this piece of land, who can afford to do all these things that are listed here? Really, is this woman in this world?
Yes, she is. She's not going to do it alone.
Okay.
When people get into marriage and they have resources, even if one is a housewife but is not working, and every day the husband has to leave for her some little coins to buy the vegetables and to buy food for the day, you'll find that whatever the wife is given, she will save, however little. And most women in this country, they belong to a chama. And where do they get this money for the chama? Where do they get money for these groups? She may not be a bride like we are, and she has everything that she has. She cooks, she will make sure the 200 shillings given to her every day, she has saved even if it's 20 bob. And in the process of that, at the end of the day in their groups, they have agreed by December, we are going to buy each of us 6 cups or 6 plates. The house is full of things. So whatever she uses to do all what the Proverbs that talks about this woman may not necessarily be out of her hard work. It could also be the husband's resource. In many cases, the projects that have succeeded in families, the initial dreamer is the woman. But when you share with the husband, he may feel like it is not the right idea now. He will sleep over it. It can go even 1 year, 2 years, but he will resurface with it. And like it is his own thoughts. But the wife knows at the back of her mind, this was my dream initially. So therefore, it may not be what the wife is earning. It may be even what is the husband earning. But because of our wisdom, because she must always pray God to give her wisdom, she will be of counsel to the husband, and she will be able to share her ideas. And the husband who loves the wife, we will see that we are not in a competition, me and my wife. we are into building a better life for both of us, and therefore he will buy the ideas and the thoughts of this wife. And the wife works hard. Of course, there's small things, including knitting, yeah? Because the Bible even talks about knitting even clothes and fur, to make their bodies warm. The perfect wife must not be a lazy one. You must be always out to work with your own hands, yeah? But it's very unfortunate that today, the girls who get into marriage, including my daughters, they want everything pap, like pesa pap. So they want chips in the can chick and the chicken pap with a plastic bag. And they go to the house, they eat with the plastic bags and the plastic spoons, and then they put it in the dustbin because she doesn't want to wash. That is really not a perfect woman.
When you look at the perfect woman, Sophia, I say that there's a lot of expectations on the wife because she's supposed to, to cook, to do laundry, and to do all these things. Yes, of course, she may get extra help, but what makes her different? Because a lot of women go to chamas, like you have said, a lot of women are employed, and some are also not employed, they're at home. And when you go to those gatherings and chamas, there's also a lot that people pick out of there that is destructive for their families because they begin now to gossip and to discuss their husbands and to discuss their children. And there's a lot of competition that they also pick from such groupings, and it turns up to be unhealthy because soon after they deviate from their initial purpose of development, and now all that they do, is just they go astray because they're trying to compare and compete with each other. They're trying to talk about their husbands. I mean, how different is this perfect wife from the others that have kept their homes?
I want to say this, Betty, that a woman or a wife is compared to a magnet. We know a magnet. It can attract many things to itself. And therefore, a wife or a woman has this charm in them that attracts many things to themselves. And therefore, as a person, you will have to know, I have attracted this, I have attracted gossip, I have attracted poisonous things that I don't need in my family. So I will have to reject them. But if the foolish wife that is mentioned there who destroys our home with her own hands, will go and attract everything, whether you need them or you don't need them, whether you know you are not capable of getting to that place, you come and put pressure onto your husband. That's not a wise woman. And that's not even what God desires. The purpose of chamas was very positive, to build each other. But at the end of the day, some of them becomes like a place like they say they are sharpening each other. But in the real sense, one has to ask ourselves, how did I begin myself? If I have to compare myself with Betty, what was my foundation? Do I know our foundation? How did she get there? What was the husband able to inherit from his parents? Did my husband inherit anything to make us race with her? And therefore, when one stands and knows that I am like a magnet, I will attract all types of people to myself, but I will know the ones I am going to keep to influence me and the ones that will speak. And it gets into the right ear and out with the left ear. I will not take it home, but I will choose what is good. Like now when women meet and they learn how to bake together, they learn how to make juice together, how to make liquid soap together, that is good. But if it is very gossip and trying to compete and to put ourselves in levels, that's not even a meeting that is supposed to be there initially. And therefore, a wife has to be wise. Do I need this? If I don't need this, then I don't take it to myself. I reject it. Then I take what I think will help me to live in my family. Because even if when we part from our meeting, each of us will go to their different homes. And the way you left your home is the way you will find it. And therefore, you will not compare with mine because it is not the same. Therefore, a perfect wife must be very, very wise. And every day ask God for wisdom. The Bible says, those who want wisdom, ask for it. I will not ask it for you, Betty. You will ask to God, you speak to God for wisdom to be able to make the right decisions as you carry on with your responsibilities and the roles that the Bible demands of you, the society demands of you, and your husband particularly demands of you. Yes.
I would like us to talk a little bit about the roles and what this woman does. But before then, does this perfect woman go through challenges and pain and difficulties? And if yes, how does she handle them that makes her to remain perfect even in the midst of them?
Life is full of challenges, Betty. We are not yet gotten to heaven. So as long as we are living in this world, we are told that when a child is born, immediately the child breathes in the air outside the womb, the child cries. That tells the nurse that the child is normal. What is normal? It's normal that you have started the struggles of this life, where you are being fed by a umbilical cord is gone. Now you have come to the world full of toxins, full of heat, all the things that affect children. And therefore, even as we continue in the life of being a perfect wife, we can't say we will be without challenges. Challenges will be there. Like now, if it's a wife that goes out to work every day, and you have the responsibility of the wife waiting for you at home. In the office, you are whatever title. When you come home, you are a wife, you are a mother, you are a daughter-in-law, and therefore you have a responsibility towards that. So that the work may be overwhelming, but you will always know that you have power to overcome this, and you have power to deal with this, power from within. Yeah? Choosing to get into marriage is a choice. And therefore, you should be ready to accept even the challenges that come with it. And be able to say to yourself, through thick or thin, within the challenges, I will deal with them. And continue to strive into dealing with them as you try to remove the distractors and the stressors that stress you so much. If, for example, it's being into the meetings like I was talking about chamas, you waste time there, and you have not even cooked, or you have some work to do in your house, then you need to remove that stressor and make sure you are home early to do your chores, because they will still wait for you. So the challenges are there, but one has to ask ourselves, how do I deal with these challenges? And the challenges of every day are different. Challenges of a young bride are different from what I'm experiencing now at my age, where my children are the age of getting married, and it's different from a toddler where you have to wake up and breastfeed at night. So challenges will come in life, plus the extra responsibility of bringing up children if God blesses you with some. And even if you're not blessed with the children, doesn't mean that you can't be a perfect wife. Marriage is not for children, it's for companionship. And when God chooses to bless you with the children, he blesses you with the children, which is not a must. It is a choice from God. And therefore, one should be ready to deal with the challenges as they come. And remembering that you are not the only one. The Bible says in the book of Corinthians that the challenges that you are facing, or the temptations you are facing, they are those that were before you, and they face the same. And therefore, we will not say we are going to live without challenges, because they are still there. For example, if we cite our founder of Mothers Union is called Mary Sumner. One of the big challenges that she had was that she had a niece get pregnant at a teenage age, which was not allowed at all. And she was married by a priest. She didn't know what to do, but she talked to the husband slowly. I know you are a priest. This is like abnormal things. It's not something accepted at all, but allow us to bring her up. The mistake is already done. So if we don't embrace her and help her to carry the pregnancy to term, we will be destroying her even further. And that is what she did, which was not normal at all. It was a big challenge.
True.
So we can't say we will live without challenges. They are there. And we have to deal with them as they come.
Okay, let's look at this perfect wife who is already in her home. When we look at her from the outside, sometimes we see her trying to smile, but in the inside, she's hurting. What is the manifestation of a perfect wife? How would you pick out a perfect wife from a group of women? Like in your position, you said you are the provisional director of all the Mothers Union here in the country. So you meet a lot of women. I guess you also have to tackle a lot of challenges that they present on your table. How are you able to pick out from a crowd and say, she is a perfect woman? What would manifest in them?
Thank you, Betty, for that question. It's quite a difficult one as I think about it. When you have people, a group of people, you can tell that this person is happily living from just the physical appearance to start with, the joy, the joy on their face. But this joy on the face, sometimes it can be cosmetic. Cosmetic in the sense that knowing who I am, I have to portray this good woman, It can be that, but light within the person, knowing who God has called you to be, and the responsibility that has laid before you, even with the challenges. The Bible says that the cry may endure in the night, but the joy comes in the morning. You have a reason to smile when morning comes in the midst of the pain that went through in the night. So they want us to get to have joy within themselves and make sure that you have done what you are supposed to do as a wife, so that it doesn't become the hindrance from your joy. And having joy is a choice. You may choose to mourn and to just be sad because of a small things, but you may choose to be happy because it's God who gives the joy. That is a gift of the Holy Spirit. But I also want to say that the challenges that you meet with should not drag you into failing to do your responsibilities. Ensure that if there's something that has come up, you are able to share with your spouse. If you can't share with a spouse, get a professional person to share with, and be careful, because if you share with the people who don't shut their mouths, before you leave the place, they have already shared the information like into 20 groups. Then that will make you hurt more. So ensure that you have someone you trust that you can share with, so that you have road what you are carrying. Otherwise, it can draw you down. It can give you a lot of heartaches and a lot of pain within you. But you ensure that the small stressors that you can deal with, you deal with them yourself in the house with your spouse before you get out. Because when you get out, the Bible says that we have very many onlookers that look at us. You do not know whether the person that you are speaking with is one of those that are looking you, whether what you are doing in your family. So you must be very sure, what do I want to share out of my house? What do I want to speak out? Because it will determine now whether you're going to be in a perfect one or not. And ensuring the Proverbs woman is that the husband outside is respected. But I cannot say that the way the children are will determine whether this woman has been a perfect woman, because they will not listen to what the mother has been teaching to them. But I'm ensuring that I've done what I'm supposed to do as a wife, that will remove the burden from me. And I will know God's assignment has been done. What remains now is for God to take over. So you can be able to identify this woman because she is robust. She knows what is expected of her. She is well dressed. Yeah. Sometimes you see women who dress in a way that their husband can't be respected from the way they dress up. So you need to dress up in such a way that even when you walk with your husband, you can be able to say, meet my wife, because of the way you have even dressed up. Try to do at least a little makeup. Try to, when women get married, they say makeup was for the wedding day, and that is over. Yeah, Sasa, I have gotten what I wanted. I am okay. But we
So,
it is not okay. We continue
Sophia,
to
I hear
I
you.
don't think I answered your question. It is
Yes, you did. You did. We have a few minutes remaining, less than 10 minutes, like 5 minutes to go. And in these 5 minutes, if you could comprehensively tell us, the important roles of this perfect wife. So we know that the wife cooks, she does laundry, she ensures that her house is neat and the people are fed. I mean, all these things anybody can do, not even necessarily the wife. You could get a help to do all these things, But what are those important roles in a few minutes that this perfect wife has to do?
The important roles, according to me, I just want to summarize and say one is to love the husband. That is the command from the Bible. And in loving the husband is to love him and to respect him and being faithful to him, meeting his needs. Number two, she is a homemaker, not a distractor. If things are bought in for my house, I must ensure that I take care of them, so that they continue to be useful into the house. So she is a homemaker, and because she will be even an example to the others at whatever she does. And she must be also careful in being a homemaker. She must be careful on spending. Women are good spenders.
Yeah.
And they can use money on even metumbas that will never be worn. They fill the wardrobe and they will never be worn. So she must be very careful careful in spending. Number three, I've said one, she must love her husband. And two, she is a homemaker. And she must love and train her children in the ways of the Lord when God blesses them with the children. And even for
but Sophia, when you talk about the first role, the first role that you just mentioned, that she must love her husband. Once, long time ago, I heard this word that the husband is to love the wife and the wife is to submit to the husband. So is it possible for this perfect wife to also submit to a man who does not love her and respect her? Does she do this role single-handedly without hanging on some love? Is it possible?
What will make it possible is that when you know what your maker has commanded you to do, you will love this person even if he doesn't love back. And continue to pray and trust God that that love that made you agree to leave your home, come and live with a stranger, can still be rekindled. Therefore, a wife has a responsibility. It may be painful, it may be hurting, but she doesn't have a choice. She chose to live with this person through till death, do them part. Therefore, she will do what she is supposed to do. And in the process of loving this husband and being faithful to him in whatever she does and respecting him as the man of the family, then the man can be able to see the love and pay back. Even if he doesn't pay back, the wife will be happy in the heart. I've done what I'm supposed to do, God. I am happy. And thank you for another day. And she'll be able to continue living. That's my take.
I wish that was the case. We would not have any cases of divorce. We would not have any cases of domestic violence. We would not have any separations. I mean, life would be in heaven. There would be no issues at all, But that is not happening. And even if you go, people are constantly referred to church, go and seek for prayers and do prayer and fasting. But unfortunately, and it is a sad statement to make, that even most of the struggling marriages, the ones we purport to have the right foundation, are the ones where there are lots of breakups and a lot of misunderstanding. It is so sad. Is it a problem with religion or what?
It's not religion, my sister Betty. Paul had a thorn in the flesh. And when he prayed to God to remove the thorn, God told him that my grace will be sufficient for you. Sometimes the struggles in the marriage keeps people moving on and a reminder that there is a God in heaven. And therefore, we cannot live in heaven when we are still in this world. We must face the challenges that come, but continue to trust God and do what you are supposed to do. Yes, do what you're supposed to do as a wife and leave the rest to God. The pain may be there, but you have where to go for help. You can seek counseling, pastoral counseling, or even psychological counseling. You can seek help from your God. You pray to God to give you the grace to deal with this thorn, because that struggle could be the thorn that Paul was told by God, my grace will be sufficient for you. So we can't do without struggles. They are there.
We can do. Okay, let's look at a new house that has been built and is really neatly polished, and everything is just shining and perfect. And that is a perfect wife you're talking about today. But because this perfect wife is living with an imperfect or a man with flaws, he may not be in a position, to continue making her perfect. So for this perfect wife who is here from the beginning, how does she maintain this perfection? Who is it that continues to feed her and nourish her? Where does she get her mentorship from?
Okay, thank you, Betty. When people get into marriage, they need to get it clear why they are coming together. And then they will have to understand each other from the word go. That this, I can do this, you can do this. This could be my responsibility, but you can also assist me in doing this and all that. When now they continue from the beginning, understanding each other and opening hearts to each other, not bottling up the problems without sharing and writing them somewhere. And then they will say, when we married, I told you this, you never did, and all that. That cannot help made a marriage. So they must ensure that they are open to each other every day and not to allow to sleep onto, hearted heart, the heart that is paining, the heart that is damaged by utterances of the other person or the action of the other person, ensuring that you point it out. But in every marriage, we have two, could be very separate characters together. One who talks, the other one who doesn't talk. And therefore, the one who talks will always speak out, I'm not happy with this. And the other one could be quiet. But once you speak, you get relieved, you get well, and you move on with life. Therefore, they must make things clear early enough. Yes, I like your socks put here. I like your small clothes put here, so that when it even comes to loudly, I know the ones that are supposed to be dirty. And a human being will understand that very clearly, so that they don't keep on fighting small fights that will continue even when people are 50 years into marriage. So I want to say that the ones that are getting into marriage, understand each other early enough. What disappoints your spouse? What makes them happy? What meal does he enjoy eating? How does he like me dressed? So that you are not always offending the person, or you dress up and then the person says, you can't follow me when you are dressed like that. Already your day is spoiled. You can't be happy again. So you must be sure, how does he like me dressed? That is the way I'll do it. But also make him understand that I love this dressing. When we met, before you proposed it to me, you found me like this, and I like to continue like this. So that he also understands like this. If I am a lipstick person, let him understand, you met me with a lipstick, I'm not stopping because I'm married. Let us agree on this, small things that
difficult. That may be such a struggle right there anyway. It has been such a good time, Sophia. We wish that we could have you one more time to elaborate even on the many questions that I know have been asked on this forum.
Yes.
We were talking about the perfect wife today.
Yes.
And I guess that people have different perspectives. They have shared the different views on the same. Some people
Yes.
disagree, and others agree that there's
Yes.
actually a perfect wife. But
Yes.
I guess that all things, it's just on your perspective, how you look at it. If this fits you, then it's a good shoe to walk
Yeah.
away with. So
Yes.
that has been such a good time there, viewer. Thank you so much for watching this program. My name is Betty Akuku. I have been your host. See you next time.
Thank you, Betty. God bless for hosting.